Positive energy all the time. Good to see you all. Hope everybody's doing great. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Here we go. Good to see you, Danielle. XYZ, always a pleasure. And today I'm going to be talking about colon cancer. I just talked about this, but it's all over the media. So, being that it's all over the media, I felt like I need to cover it again. And it, if you know anything about the media when it comes to health, for this to be all over the over the media, means that there's some type of serious problems. And so, for the media to be reporting that colon cancer is on the rise among young adults, there's something underlying to that, because they have been talking about this for a while, but the message has been that it's gone down from 70 and 60 and 50 down to 40. They're not trying to scare everyone, and you have to read between the lines, but they're mentioning 20s and 30s. Uh, it's very strange, but I've looked at a lot of the articles, and they're mentioning 20 and 30s, but they're not really going into details why they're mentioning that, and they're kind of still pushing 40, and so they're pushing that you should get screened at 40, in your 40s, but they're mentioning cases at 20 and 30, which means you should be getting screened in your 20s and 30s. I'm not really big on conspiracies or something, and I'm not saying what I'm getting ready to say is facts, but it seems to me uh, they're a little conflicted, and there's some talks behind the scene to lower the age to get checked for colon cancer to 20 and 30. And it seems like they're going to advise you to get checked 3 times, maybe even 4 times. And I'm not saying this is what's going on, but it seems like there might be down the pipeline advice to get your colon checked every 10 years, starting in your 20s. Your 20s, then your 30s, then your 40s, then your 50s. And the reason I'm saying that is because it doesn't make sense that they're mentioning in 20s and 30s in these articles and suggesting that you get checked at 40. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm confused. You're mentioning, you know, okay, listen. When Chadwick passed away, he was in his 40s. He was in his early 40s. So when Chadwick passed away, the actor from Black Panther, they started saying that people need to get their colon checked at a younger age, right? Right? Now let's just think about this. Now in 2020, Chadwick passed away at 43 years old. Okay? Look where I'm going with this. Shout out to Google. August 28th, 2020, Chadwick passed away from colon cancer. They said and started advising that you get checked for colon cancer at 40. Right? So that was always suspicious to me. Because if he passed away at 43, he would have had to get checked in his 30s. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not saying this as a fact. But if you look at this diagram, you have stage 0, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. I can't see it going from stage 0 to stage 4. I can't see that happening no sooner. Well, this seems like it would be like 5 years at least. As a matter of fact, I'm not a doctor. I'm just guessing. I would think that stage 0 and stage 1 would be slower, right? It would take longer before you even got to stage 0. And I don't think that stage 0 to stage 2 would be that fast. I can't see it speeding up until stage 2. And then from stage 2 to stage 4, I don't know what you all think. How long you would think it would take you to go from stage 2 to stage 4? And so if he passed away at 43, he would have had to get screened in his late 30s. What y'all think? Right? What y'all think? Okay, let's see. Let's see if Google knows. Whoa. 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 I don't even know what to say. You all look at this. It takes, on average, between 10 to 15 years for a colon polyp to become cancerous and potentially progress to stage 4. The time it takes for cancer to progress from stage 0 to stage 4 varies significantly based on factors like the tumor, cellular makeup, the individual age, and the overall health, as well as if the cancer spreads to distant organs. Whoa, wait. Okay, hold on. Look, on average, it may take 10 or 15 years for colon cancer to progress from stage 1 to stage 4, right? Okay. Y'all see where I'm going with this? So if it takes anywhere from 2 to 15 years, and he passed away if it takes anywhere from 2 to 15 years, and he passed away at 43, he would have had to get diagnosed. He would have had to get checked in at 33. He would have had to get checked at 33. This is so deep. So if he would have had to get checked at 33, why did they say get checked at 40? When they knew if he got checked at 40, he might have already had it 7 to 12 years. Something like that. If they saying from stage 1 to stage 4, on average it may take 10 to 15 years. This is absolutely groundbreaking. This is really crazy. I didn't know we were going to go down this rabbit hole, you all. I'm not even going from stage 0. We go from stage 1. Right? This is stage 1. Okay? So you see 0, then you see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're not even go from 0. We're going to go from stage 1. from stage 1 to stage 4, they are saying on average it may take 10 to 15 years for colon cancer to progress from stage 1 to stage 4. And they saying in some cases it may happen more rapidly. So if you're saying it could take 10 to 15 years, let's take the low end 10. If you say more rapidly, I can't see that being any quicker than 5. We'll cut the 10 in half and say 5 years, right? We'll say 5 years. So if you consider 5 years, and he passed away at 43, you would have to get checked in your 30s. So why are they saying after he passed, get checked in your 40s? I knew this all sounded suspicious when I read the article today. I knew it. Now I see what's going on. So why didn't they tell everybody to get checked in their 30s? Would it have scared everybody from a certain food markets? Probably. It probably would have been really bad for the economy. Right? Right? If they said, oh, he passed away at 43, you need to get checked for colon cancer in your 30s. And then they would have said, like, oh, because they saying, processed meats, they always say. So now if they're telling you gotta get checked for colon cancer in your 30s, when typically people used to get checked in their 60s, people would have panicked. So he passed away at 43. They told us you need to get checked at 40, but there's no way that he could have got it at 40 and passed away at 43. If he got it at 40, he probably wouldn't have passed away until 45. Because they're saying typically if he got it at 40, he wouldn't pass away till 50 before it would have been fully developed, 50 or 55. Right? Or am I tripping? They're saying, hold on, 10 to 15 years. So if he got it at 40, he wouldn't pass away. It wouldn't go to stage 4 until he was in his 50s. If it was going fast, it wouldn't have did anything until he was in his mid 40s, 45. But he passed away at 43. Now, if we take the worst scenario and say he had it for 15 years, what's 43 minus 15? 33, 30, 28. The reason I'm asking is Because when I'm reading articles today, they're saying younger people. Okay, we'll just look at the article first and we'll come back to this. Oh boy. I got to do another whole live on just this. Look, colon cancer is on the rise amongst young adults, with more people in their 40s, 30s, and 20s being diagnosed. So, look, y'all. Look. If you're getting diagnosed in your 20s with colon cancer, ain't no way it's going to be stage 0, stage 1. It's going to be at least stage 3 or stage 4. So it might have started developing in your teens. Now you just seen they said 20s, 30s, and 40s. But they advise you to get screened at 40. That's why I came over here. This didn't make no sense to me. Because I'm saying, y'all saying, okay, people are being seen with this at 20, 30, and 40. Why are you telling them to be screened at 40? When you just told it. So this is what I'm telling y'all. This is my point. My point is this. So I knew something wasn't right. This story, they ain't telling it. They're not telling this story right. I believe they're not telling us the real story. I'm just going to keep it honest. Because they just reported, colon cancer rates went down. And what's the 911? What do they mean by colon cancer on the rise among younger adults? How young? Because it don't seem like they talking about 40, because we've already established back with Chadwick about 40. So to me, this sounds like, to me, y'all, it sounds like it's a serious problem going on behind the scenes. And to me, I'm not saying this is a fact. Tell me if I'm tripping. It seems like there's a serious problem. And they're trying to find a way to break it to the public gently. Ain't that what it sounds like? Okay, listen. Let's read the article. Tell me this article don't seem weird. I don't know if it's me, because it could be me. Okay, look at the article. Colon cancer is on the rise amongst young adults, with more people in their 40s, 30s, and even 20s being diagnosed. In fact, colon cancer is the leading cause of cancer death in men under 50, and the second leading cause in women of the same age, according to American Cancer Society. When they say under 50, hey, 5 years old is under 50. You see what I'm getting at? Okay, under 50. Okay. This don't sound right. For instance, actor Chadwick Boseman, known for his role as King T'Challa in Marvel's Black Panther, died of colon cancer in 2020 at 43. He had been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016. So He got diagnosed with stage 3 at 39, which means he got colon cancer in his mid 30s or maybe late 20s. If you take it into account that they say from 10 to 15 years, if you take 15 years from 43, we talking in his 20s. So now if he was diagnosed, y'all, in 2016 and he was 39, why did they tell us to get diagnosed at 40? If he got diagnosed with stage 3 and at 49, then he should have been diagnosed at 35, maybe even 30, depending on how many years did it take to get to stage 3. Because if you take the high number, 15 years, half of that is 7 years. So if you take 7 years from 39, that means in his 30s. If you take 5 years from 39, I mean 34. So still 30. So now I'm not talking about what's causing it. Now we have a whole different conversation, because why are they not telling you to get diagnosed at 30 or 33 or 35? Why are they saying 40? Look, but research has also shown with more people of the ages 45 to 49 getting screened for colon cancer, more early stage diagnoses are being made. The research published in 2 studies in August in the Journal of American Medical Association showed increases in screening amongst those younger than 50 is linked to a rise in earlier diagnosis. One study showed an annual increase of 1.1% from 2004 to 2019, jumped to 12% from 2019 to 2022 for colorectal cancer incidence among people aged 45 to 49. While another study showed screening amongst U.S. adults aged 45 to 49 increased 62% from 2019 to 2023. Uh, uh-uh. The recommended age to begin colorectal screening was lowered from 50 to 45 by the ACS in 2018 and by the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force in 2021. We're having many more patients come in at the age of 45 and even before, just to talk about the risks and get ahead of their health care. And it's very encouraging. We've changed over the last few years. We changed are working. So more people are getting screened between the ages of 45 and 50. Look, Lord, go to the bottom. The increase is stepwise, but we have to also recognize that if you're 50 and above, your risk is 30 to 50 per 100,000 patients, versus if you're in your 30s It's 5 per 100,000. So it is a stepwise increase at 40, about 15 to 20. So it seems to make sense when we are starting at the age of 45. No, that does not. Okay. Mm-mm. 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 You know what I suspect? They don't want to tell you when you really need to get screened. They don't want to scare you. Listen, they do not want to scare you because there's no way that man passed away at 43 and you're going to say get screened at 40. Listen, man, it ain't no way he going to pass away at 43. It takes an average of 10 to 15 years. If you give it the short 10 years, that means he should have got screened at 33. There is no way 45 makes no sense. But if they tell you you got to get screens at 30, the general public will panic, won't they? Let's just be real. Let's just keep it honest. If they start telling you that you got to get screened for colon cancer at 33, tell me everybody won't panic because they panicked when Chadwick passed away because the big news then was, oh, you used to didn't have to get screened till you was in your 60s. So we didn't jump from 60 to they telling you 40, but the reality is in your late 20s. And the reality is, if you're going to eat the way we're eating, you're going to have to get screened every 7 years, ain't you? If you want to catch it early and you don't know when it's going to start, and you can have it from 10 to 15 years, if you say 10 years, you would have to catch it at 2 years. So we're really looking at screening every 5 years. To be honest with you, you would be looking at having to get screened every 5 years in reality, starting at 30. You would have to get screened at 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65. If you were trying to catch it early enough to to try to at least cure it at an early stage. If you're trying to catch it at stage 0 or stage 1, unless I'm you wouldn't be able to wait and try to catch it at stage 4. The insurance doesn't start covering testing until the age of 50. The problem is that if you tell people they got to get screened at 30, the processed meat industry will crash immediately. Many industries will crash. Artificial flavors, crash. Preservatives, crash. Bacon and other processed meats, gone. crash. Everybody be scared. Everybody be terrified. Think about that. You just got out of college, or you only been out of high school 10 years. You way too young. Imagine that. Like I'm 65. Imagine you telling me in my 30s, I got to go get tested for colon cancer. I would freak out. I would have freaked out. I would have freaked out. I would have freaked out. Like, why? I'm only 30. I just stopped being a child. I mean, I just stopped being a teenager. Why am I doing this old people stuff? That's how you would look at it. Like, that's something my grandfather was supposed to have to do. In some cases, you just had a child or ain't even got a baby yet. People would freak out. So now I get what's going on. This story is not. Listen, I knew something wasn't right about this story. This story's not right. Let's look at the story, and y'all tell me what y'all think. Tell me what y'all think. And shout out to CBS News. I got this from CBS News. Now you tell me what y'all think. Tell me what you think. The title says, with colon cancer rates skewing younger, doctor and patient urge everyone to be proactive. Right? Now, that was searched because an article came out saying colon cancer on the rise amongst younger adults. Right? Now, listen. Let's be honest. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Look at this. Okay. Now, you see this? With colon cancer rise. Colon cancer is rising in young adults. CBS News, how it was printed. Colon cancer on the rise amongst younger adults. With colon cancer rate skewing in younger adults. Look, colon cancer rising in younger adults. All of this is just posted this week and today within hours, most of these. What age are they talking about? Why they ain't specific? What they mean when they say younger adults, y'all? Who are they talking about? Because when you go into the articles, they start being all vague. And, but what has happened? The reason that article is everywhere. What's going on? The reason that article is big news this week. Why is that article big news? Is it because it's the ages they saying in the articles, or is it younger and they don't want to say nothing yet? Because it sounds to me like a 911. Because it's not colon cancer awareness month. It's not cancer awareness month. And what's up with this article? Based on what? So it's like when I read the article, it sounded like they were kind of beating around the bush. Like, we don't really want to tell y'all why we. They're saying much younger age, but they not saying what age. They're like, Bozeman, and you need to get checked at 40. Wait a minute, you already told us that when he passed away, you told us 40. So if you already told us 40, what do you mean by much younger age now? You see what I'm getting at? You already said much younger age when it happened to him. Now you're saying much younger age. Well, how much younger? They don't come out and say much younger. Now you need to get screened at late 20s. They're like beating around the bush. Oh, and it could be 15 to 10 years, right? And when you read between the lines, you say, okay, you're saying I need to get screened at 40. He passed away at 43. And we go 10 years, he's 33. Make it make some sense. Why y'all never came out and said he should have been screened at 30s? Knowing that when you said we should have get screened at 40, that would have been too late for him. They start saying 40s, but if he would have got screened at 40, he would have already been at stage 4 probably. No less than stage 3. I thought you were trying to catch stage 1 or 2. 40 he would have been past stage 1 and stage 2. So even then, the story wasn't. Even then, when they told you 40, they raised that number. They raised that number. When he passed away, they should have said 35. And they said 40. Unless it's me, they should have said 35. If he passed away at 43 and he had it at the least amount of time, 10 years, that means 33. 15 years mean 28. So that's why I'm feeling funny, because I'm going to look at it. They say, oh, you got to get screamed younger. And then they never really told you what they mean. Well, okay, younger like what? Younger like what? Oh, we ain't going to tell you what we mean by younger, Pharaoh. They never tell me in the articles what they mean by younger. What do you mean younger? Be specific. How young? Oh, we can't say that. Basically, they can't say how young, because that would be an instant judgment on the food. They know they can't say 30. Can they? Y'all be honest. You know they can't say you need to get screened for colon cancer at 30. What'll happen? What'll happen if you tell Americans they need to get screened for colon cancer at 30? What will everybody think? Why? 30? Because they really didn't push 40, unless you read the article. They never came on the news and radio and say, okay, y'all, now you got to get screened at 40. They kind of said it quiet. oh, Chadwick, we advise you get screen 40. We know nobody's going to watch this, so it ain't going to cause no panic. And there was no big drive to let Americans know you got to get screened at 40. And now that makes sense because if they would have made a big drive out of that, you would have did the math and say, he would have had to get screened sooner than that. So they couldn't even push 40 because you would start doing the math and say 40, well, he passed away at 43. Wouldn't 40 be too late? When they said 40, that was too late based on him passing away at 43. They were supposed to been say in your 30s. I do math very well. According to what I'm seeing, according to how long it says to develop from stage 0 to stage 5, you would have to get screened in your 30s. And you would have to get screened in your 40s and the 50s. You'd have to get screened every 10 years. Because you can get screened at 30, and if you're still eating bad, it can start developing at 35. 30 is just to check if anything happened up to 30. What about after 30? That's got to be checked too. So they don't want to tell you, you're going to have to get checked every 10 years. Because people say, well, what's the other alternative? You got to stop eating. You got to stop eating the food we've been selling you. Basically, I mean, y'all know the ultimate answer, what they have to do. Y'all know the real answer, what they have to do. Y'all know what they really have to tell us. Now I see why this don't make no sense. I see what's going on. They can't tell you. They cannot tell you what you really have to do. I knew something wasn't right. They cannot tell you how you really supposed to get screened. I get it. They can't tell you the truth. They didn't base too much of their economics off of it. They can't. They can't tell you this. I get it. They can't tell you because they know if they tell you the real age, you're going to want to know why, and they already know you're going to find out why. Then you're going to find out about bacon and hot dogs and salami. And they know that's going to freak you out. They already know. They can't tell you. It's crazy. Because you're going to go and you're going to see this and you're going to be like, oh, man. They already know. They know this is what you're going to find out. Check this out. They can't afford to lose all that money. Mm-mm. They can't afford to lose all that money. But something is wrong, you all. For them to come on the news and to tell you that younger adults, there's a rise in colon cancer in younger adults, they know that's going to cause a panic. So they're trying to put the story out there so they just won't be totally negligent, but they're not trying to really put it out there and hurt the economy. They're trying to figure out, basically behind the scenes, they're saying, when are we going to tell them? They got to tell you eventually. That's why I knew this just didn't sound right. This whole thing was strange. I said, this doesn't make sense. Like, they're saying younger, and then I go, look, and you keep saying 40, but we already knew that. So what is the panic? Why you keep saying younger is younger? And then when I look at it, you're talking about 40 and 50 years old. I'm like, that's not younger, because we already established 40 years old with Chadwick. So if we established 40 and you saying younger, you got to be talking about 20 and 30. You got to be. What do you mean younger? What do you mean colon cancer on the rise and younger? What younger? How younger? Y'all see what I'm getting at? Be specific. Look, this is all posted just now, like 3-4 hours ago, 19 hours ago, 3 weeks ago at the longest. Look, it's rising in young adults. How young? Look at the girl sitting on the table to your right. That's not a 40-year-old. They're beating around the bush. Younger people. Who are younger people? Y'all know in America, when we say younger adults, we're talking 20s and 30s. Why are they playing in our face? When have y'all ever heard the term younger adults not be 20s and 30s? Keep it real. That has always been 20-year-olds and 30 years old. That has never been 40-year-olds, have never been considered younger adults. Younger adults has always been 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. 40, 50, 60 was middle age in this system. You've never heard them say younger adults and not mean 20 and 30. That's what it has always meant in the news. Am I lying? What do get in the chat and tell me, what does younger adults, what age is that in America when they say younger adults? What age that be? Maybe I'm tripping. Because every time we read an article like that, we always think it's like people have just got out of college. What y'all think? That's what I'm saying, pure growth. I ain't never known younger adults to be older than 30 in their 30s. 40-year-old is not considered a younger adult. Listen, I'm going to end this live. Y'all get the picture. Let me tell you something. Clean it up. If you got children like high school age, you're going to have to talk to them and say, listen, I know you're going to do what you want to do, but you need to clean it up. We're going to have to save our people, y'all. You're going to have to save your family if you can and your friends. Because for the money, they're not telling the Americans the truth. For the money. They're putting the money over the truth. That something's going on and they don't want to spit it out. Something is going on, y'all. And they don't want to spit it out. They kind of like want to say something, but don't want to really give the details. So they like between a rock and a hard place. It's like, well, we kind of want to tell y'all. That's what the article feel like. Like, you got to read between the lines. We can't. Man, listen. Y'all have a good day. Eat right. And I'll tell you something. Watch these holidays. Because these holidays is making it so you don't have many holidays. V is for vegan and victory.